Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, so today we're going to go back to a video that I made with a client of mine. I think the video was about 8 years ago, approximately. I don't remember exactly when it was. His name is Abenev. I brought him up a few times. I'll give you a little bit of history leading up to the video. Okay, so first I want to go back just to the last couple of videos that I've made very recently, okay? So the last one was Take Back Your Life by Shifting into Your Power, okay? And there was another one before that, two videos before that on March 27th saying Take Charge of Your Life by shifting your internal locus of control back inside. So that's a psychological term. Because I came across a video, someone was mentioning that, and I realized, oh, that's what I'm doing with my clients. It's one of the core pieces that I work with my clients. Now, the reason why I was upset with psychology for quite a while is because they use a lot of these big terms, these big terminology, scientific words, and you know, I remember going through college, like I didn't even really understand what it meant. So my biggest frustration with psychology on a personal level, going to psychologists when I was young, and also working with people, is it didn't help. It's like they had these big words, and it's a very egotistical profession. Okay, so what I love about NLP is what this video is about. You're going to see a real life change in a young man who went from completely stuck in life and was frustrated and it was going nowhere to taking charge of his life. So psychologists like to talk about this internal and external locus of control, big words, and yet you can go to them for years and years and years and nothing changes. And that's what I love about the work that I do with people. And that's why I want you to watch this video, because you're going to watch this young man go, wow, this guy completely changed his life. Alright, so here's what I'm trying to say. You can change if you find the right practitioner who's really, really good at what they do. And that really is the key. So with Abenev, he had a tremendous shift. I mean, he went from this guy that was going nowhere. He was stuck. He was spinning his wheels. He wasn't dating. He had a job, but that was literally it. And he had been there for years, and so he went from that job to another one, and then he applied for a better job about a year later, and he just kept moving forward in life. So now he was taking charge of his life because he made this internal shift. Okay, so the good news is Abenev made a huge shift, shifting from external, because Abenev was extremely frustrated with his life for a long time. The sad news is this. I think I've mentioned it at least once in the past. Abenev actually had passed away. He passed away about 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. So to be honest with you, it was kind of a sad moment when I found out, because he was one of my best clients. He really was starting to step into this, and not just the external to internal shift, but he was understanding right brain ways of socializing and experiencing energy and consciousness. So I thought he would be the worst client, but he ended up being probably the best client I've ever had. Alright, that being said, let's dive right into the video.
So I'm going to talk about one of the changes that happened in Abenev's life. Was a therapeutic session we did. It was a huge shift. I haven't even told him which one. Do you remember the black energy?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we were sitting down just casually talking about something, and I was really grounded, and I was energetically just what I call being just wide, and I mean wide. And we were talking, and I don't remember exactly what we were talking about. And I was like, oh wait, I see something. So go ahead.
It was about my sister. How she was going so fast and
in life,
so far in life, and I felt like I wasn't.
Yeah, so his sister, I think at this point was a junior or senior in college.
She was a junior, I think.
And I believe she was in Europe.
She was.
And she was having, her life was just boom, 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 boom. She's getting through college. She's going to Europe. She's doing this. And I don't remember if it was you, might have been someone, was she part of a business doing an internship or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she got the internship. She went to Europe. And Ben was like, I don't get it, and your sister's younger than you, right?
2 years younger.
Yeah, so Ben was like, why isn't this happening to me? What's going on? A lot of times we get stuck and we don't know why. Like I'm smarter than this guy. I got better grades. Why is he just going right past me?
So this is a perfect example of whereas his sister was just marching forward. So his sister is on the right. This is internal locus of control. She felt like she was, she determined her future. She took action. She went after what she wants. She made decisions. Whereas Abenev definitely was before this video, but about a year before this, was on the left side where he was like, well, there's nothing and he would say that. He goes, Mike, there's just like nothing I can do to change it. And he would say that all the time. There's nothing I can do about my future. So if you see it in the upper left part, right? And so Abenev was at the effect. He wasn't at the cause, which is where his sister was at. So this is a perfect example of what happens when somebody makes this internal shift.
There's a lot of different reasons, and we're going to talk about one thing we did with the benefit. So as you were talking about it, I saw something. And I don't know how to say like I saw it. It's more like an energetic thing. It's like, oh shit, it's right there. It's like, got it. But I think I got it because his energy was ready to heal at that time. Does that make sense now that you look back? Or if it doesn't, that's fine.
Yeah.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was I noticed, God, how do I say this? Okay, this is how to say it. Abenev was disconnected from himself. Would you say there's some truth to that?
Yeah, a lot of truth.
A lot disconnected.
Yeah.
And you had that question mark thing going on. Where am I?
Probably had like 2 or 3 question mark things going on because I felt so alienated from myself. Like I would sometimes, it was so bad that sometimes I would be walking down the street and end up somewhere completely where I didn't want to be and just be like, how the hell did I get here?
Right, dissociated. So one thing I'd like to say about therapy is you might have a couple issues or layers of issues before you get to the core issue. Now, we worked with things with the benefit here, and then there, and then when we got to it, it came out. It was like, oh, there it is. See, a lot of times, like, I want to get rid of this. I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be afraid to approach women. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to find out, well, why are you afraid? Well, what's causing this? And then we cleared one thing. Remember the timeline therapy thing we did?
Yep.
And you were spinning?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah. And
yeah, I remember that.
And I'm waiting for him because intuitively, call it energetically, whatever it is, because every time we do a therapeutic intervention, I have no idea where it's going on. And I've never been into India. I've never been in his life. And I'm like, oh, he needs to let go. Like, I just knew. And I'm kind of grinning, but his eyes were closed, and we're doing this timeline therapy thing, and it's like I'm spinning around the room, right?
Yeah.
It's going faster.
Yeah, it's like I was caught up in a hurricane or a tornado,
and were you trying to hold on?
Yeah, even though I was just sitting on his couch, I felt like I was just spinning circles.
Right, but do you see how your life, that was the way your life was?
Yeah.
Now, in the therapeutic session, when you were spinning, what happened when you tried to hold on tighter?
It got worse.
It went faster.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing that's, especially for men, that's really hard to understand until you do it enough times. You go, oh. And then I finally, I just when's he going to figure it out? Because I really like for my clients to figure it out on their own, but he was getting real bad. He's Mike, what do I do?
I was pretty much yelling at him. I was like, dude, help me. Yeah, so it must have been a pretty funny sight because I was sitting on the couch with my eyes closed and just yelling at him, dude, help me. Help me, dude.
Well, we can laugh now, but back then, was it funny or was it scary?
It was pretty scary.
It was really scary,
yeah.
Now, I kind of started getting caught up with the fear, but I knew that, look, he's safe, he's on the couch, it's going to be fine. But I kind of and I had to kind of pull myself out. So finally, I waited, come on, man, you'll get it. I didn't say that, but I'm thinking it in my head, and I was like, all right, let go. He goes, what? I go, let go. He's like, yeah. I went, Ben, you're going to have some faith here, let go. What happens when you let go?
The tornado slowed down completely, and I mellowed out.
It completely stopped, didn't you?
Mm.
Did you feel a lot calmer?
Yeah.
Like totally calm?
Totally calm.
Now, here's the deal. This one therapeutic intervention we did that day, it completely shifted his personality. He became a very mellow guy. So the person you're listening to now is not the person who he was literally the minute before we did that intervention, that therapeutic technique, okay?
Totally calm.
Now, that had something to do with an issue in the past, and we're not going to go with that right now. But do you see how when you try to control things, and you try to force, and try to make a woman like you, try to use a technique and open her, line on her to get her attracted to you, do you see how that causes the anxiety and the fear?
Yes.
Because you're trying to control it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things, when you taught me those are the techniques, like being internal and grounded and all that stuff, do you remember how hard I was trying at those techniques?
And I said, don't try.
Yeah. One of the reasons I kind of started to get a handle on them was because I stopped trying. I was literally just like, fuck it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I tried them, it was hard. Like, it was really hard to do the techniques, and they would just cause more anxiety.
Because you can't do the techniques by doing them, by controlling them. It's literally like putting the brakes on in a car.
Yeah.
And you're not going anywhere. Why isn't it working, Mike? Because you got your foot on the brake, dude. Let go of the brake. And you're like, but it's not working. I'm like, Bennett, do you want to go somewhere? Do you want to get through this? Do you want to get more out of life? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to get the girl? Well, yeah. Well, you're going to have to let go, and you're going to have to actually drive the car around.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm afraid to. You don't have to go fast. Just go 5 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour if you want. You get a little more comfortable driving, go 5 miles an hour. Now, when you learn to let go, would you say that everything in life has gotten easier?
Yes. And by everything, he means everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing that... there's pretty much nothing in my life that isn't touched by what I've learned from him.
Right.
But there is one thing, though. Like, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. I tried pushing it for a long time. Like, I gotta let go. It doesn't happen that way. It'll happen when it's supposed to. So,
do you remember when I said I grabbed a bottle, but used the cork, and I said, "This is my entire course right here, and especially the techniques we're doing to let go." I go, "Here it is. Ready? Let go." I go, "The reason why you're not opening up is because you're trying, which means you're pushing the door closed and you're holding it."
Yeah.
Now, at the time, I want to bring this up. Did a lot of the concepts that I taught you back then, like self-love, we'll talk about that in a second, did they seem really weird? Or did they seem like it doesn't make sense? Or it's not working?
Well, all of the above, actually, because they didn't make sense, and because of that, they didn't work. And it's like I thought the biggest thing for me was, the biggest hurdle was that I thought that I understood them. And for whatever reason, they just were not working. That was my biggest hang-up.
Right.
I really thought like I understood the internal awareness, letting go, and self-love, and this and that, but it just wasn't happening.
Why? What were you doing? You said the word.
Because I was pushing it.
And thinking is pushing.
Mm.
So my course is not understood through thinking about it. It's understood by letting go of thinking. Now that's a weird. Most men are like, "What the? This guy's so nuts. What you talking about?" And didn't it seem like it at times? Like, what? Didn't it make any sense?
Well, I was willing to hear and believe everything you said, but it's like to guys that's so abnormal. You
even
like,
to you,
what the fuck?
Especially to you, because you used to be Mr. Thinker.
Yeah. You just like, what does that mean?
Your thinking, guys, is getting in your way. Do you see that now?
Yes.
You know why I know that he sees that? Because and I think I mentioned in the last video, but we bumped into each other. We haven't talked for a year. And we went to the same restaurant, just, "Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?" And I looked at it like, I go, "Wow, you really changed." And he's like, "Yep, because I'm finally doing what you taught me now, because I get it now." And it's obvious. It's so obvious. Proud of yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, life is good, man. Again, I'm not a master at this or anything, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Go ahead.
I've actually I feel like I've just started to get the hang of this, and it's making my life awesome.
Let's talk about the black energy because we didn't actually finish that.
Okay.
So, Abenev, we were talking, and he brought up his sister. Why is she moving forward, and why am I stuck? Like, I don't get it. I'm a good person. I'm smart. I'm this. I'm that. And as we were walking through it, I don't remember. Again, it was a while ago, but all of a sudden, like, oh, he's just totally disconnected from himself. My whole course is about connecting you, the I, with the am. I am. Most men are I question mark out here. A lot of people are. Some women are too. You want to be open and you want to connect internally, and this is how you have that flow. So he was not connected. Not only was he not connected, but there was a part of you that you were pushing out. No, and it was trying to come back in, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And so I go, "What's it doing?" Because it's an experience thing. It's an intuitive thing. I'm like, that thing's trying to get in, and it's like you just see. It's like you were flexing, like you were tightening your muscles. Like, nope, you can't come in, right? And I'm not going to explain all the techniques that I did to open myself up to get him to open up. See, that's the thing right there. I know in order for him to open up, I have to be open. Same thing with a girl. If you want a girl to open up to you, you have to open up to you.
Yes.
So what I did was I had completely wide open, and that's one thing that allows me to see what's going on with their energy, their body language, their tonality, the way they talk. Remember, do you see the difference between? Can you hear the difference between your voice now and the way it used to be?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
It's a lot deeper. It's a little bit lower in my stomach. Before I could only speak from here. It felt like my voice was just stuck. Now it's a little bit lower in my chest.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is that I'm actually paying attention to my voice more.
Right. So are you forcing it or are you just noticing it?
I'm just noticing it.
And that allows it to drop down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So trying to control this stuff doesn't work, guys. And now here's the thing. When you talk to women now, it's like, do women almost walk up to you? Are you more approachable now? That's
Yes.
what I'm trying to say.
Yes. And they have. A few of them would just walk straight up to me.
So when we worked on that energy, I said, well, why won't you let it in? Do you remember what you said?
I said it was evil.
And I said, why do you think it's evil? What about it's evil? And you said?
Because it's black.
It's black. So I'm like, that doesn't necessarily mean it's evil. It's just its color.
Black is my color now.
Yes, it is. It's funny. You wear black now.
Yeah.
And so I forget what I said. I'm not going to go into detail. I reframed it. And while staying wide, which is another technique. And then I said, what would happen if you let it in? And you just...
Mm-hmm.
So when you realize that... See, a lot of people think white or black is good or evil. That's not necessarily true at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's an unconscious representation a lot of people have. And so when you realize that and you let it back in, what happened?
The first thing I noticed, the very, very first thing right off the bat was the feeling came back in my body.
You could feel your body?
Yeah. Like I stepped back into my body. I could feel my backbone. I could feel my muscles, my arms. And then I had a solid sense of myself.
Yes.
It's like I could feel myself internally. And I just felt very solid and very grounded.
All right. Now that's an important piece of my course, being solid, being internal, being internally grounded. So once you became connected, solid inside, did you notice, number one, you were comfortable?
Yes.
With yourself and in public?
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice how most women wanted to gravitate towards you?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it makes them feel comfortable with themselves.
When you're grounded, when you're solid, when you're connected inside, that's a great feeling.
So number one, what I want you guys to know is how much you can shift when you find someone who's really, really good at their craft. Number two, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory to give you an idea of what can happen from childhood and how this can last your entire life until somebody can discover what's causing it. And that's something that I was trained in NLP, is how to find, like, it's a, God, what's the word? I can't find the word right now, but you're essentially seeking and looking. It's like undoing, you know how cats will take a ball of yarn and like get it all knotted up. So essentially it's like a puzzle. And what I'm doing is I'm moving and shifting the pieces of the puzzle, or like the Rubik's Cube, until I discover how to put it together the right way. So there's a discovery process for me that goes along with this. And NLP gives us a certain series of tools, questioning patterns, and literally there's a series of quadrant of patterns that will ask you. And there's something else that I have called timeline therapy. There's a segment in that where it's kind of a cheat tool or cheat sheet where it's like I can go right to it. So it's something that I have mastered, and one of the reasons why is because for me the discovery process is like, it's kind of like the mad scientist hat goes on, and my whole neurology lights up and I turn on. Now with the Benev, what was going on was, now he's from India. I think he said he moved here when he was 8 or 9 years old, something like that. So when he was a little kid, I'm talking, I think he was like 4 years old or something like that. He was a little kid. His mom and aunt were on, it was at nighttime and they went for a walk. And they were both holding his hand, right? So his hands were up in the air holding his mom and aunt's hands. So both his hands were up in the air being held by the adult's hands. And here's one of the things that you need to know about the story is, during that time, there was a wild monkey with rabies that was running around biting people, okay? Or attacking people. And so he said, sure enough, we went for a walk and it's like 9 o'clock at night and the sun's down. And it's kind of a funny story. So what happened was the monkey ran right at him, okay? And so he goes, this thing was screaming and yelling, and my mom and my aunt lifted me up, and here I was. This monkey was running at me, and he goes, my feet weren't even touching the ground, and I'm spinning my feet, and I couldn't go anywhere. And they kind of didn't do anything. They just froze and lifted me up, and the monkey jumped right on top of me and grabbed onto me. And he said, I felt completely helpless. So here's essentially what happened. He got so scared he dissociated from himself, and he pushed his own power, his own energy outside of himself. So that dark energy was actually his power. So when we were sitting there, I noticed it. We were just casually talking about something, and I saw it out in front of him, out in front of his abdomen and just below, kind of by his knees. And then that's when I brought it up. And that's when I kind of, because I could see it. And he said, yeah, it's right, because it's right there. I go, why won't you let it in? And he said, because it was black and he thought that was evil. So I go, no, that's actually your power. So this is how an event, now he didn't get bit, he didn't get scratched, he didn't get rabies, nothing happened, the monkey ended up running away. And so he basically had shifted this energy, his own energy, and disconnected and pushed it outside of his body. And because of that, he couldn't go anywhere in life because he wasn't connected to his power. You know, what I wish we could have done, I wish we would have talked about the change, how much it rapidly changed his life. Like, his life literally changed overnight. And I am not kidding. He quit a job about a week later. He got a better job. And then after a couple months, he found a better job. And he was really happy with the job. He was making a lot more money. And he was just boom. And then he found his own little place. It was like this miniature house that this person built on the property. Super, like, very reasonable price. So everything, he started to get his hairstyle. He used to just get it buzzed all the way down, let it grow out. He started getting his hairstyle. He started like kind of dressing a little bit nicer, and he was developing his own style. So his whole life took off. Alright, that's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And remember, if any time I make a video that really helps you out or makes a difference, there's always there's a PayPal link right there where you can donate $5, $10, $15 or whatever you want to donate, okay? God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, I am a professionally trained healer, life coach, NLP trainer, etc., etc. If you need help, if you want to heal lifelong issues, get a hold of me. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. God bless.